So, have you ever wondered why some athletes just seem to effortlessly smash through their personal bests, while others, well, they just hit this frustrating wall no matter how hard they grind? I mean, we've all been taught that hard work pays off, right? But in the realm of physical training, that traditional grind often leads straight to a massive plateau. Overtraining is a very real problem. And honestly, pushing through pure exhaustion might actually be the exact thing holding you back.
Okay, let's dive right into this, because we're currently looking at a huge paradigm shift in sports science. The outdated myth that more is always better is finally getting challenged, because as it turns out, more is definitely not always better. Better is better. We really need to shift away from these rigid, punishing programs and move toward what we call responsive training.
Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to break down exactly how you can smash through those frustrating training plateaus. We'll be exploring the fascinating science of adaptation, pulling from leading sports science research to help you, for sure, work smarter, not harder.
Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to start with the science of adaptation, then figure out your minimum effective dose of training. After that, we'll explore autoregulation in training and wrap the whole thing up with the great debate, active versus passive recovery.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the science of adaptation, and understand the baseline rule of muscle growth. It's the absolute foundational rule of fitness. If you want to grow, get stronger, or get faster, you have to stress the body. And this is absolutely crucial. You must allow it to recover. To put this into perspective, let's look at the guidelines from the President's Council on Physical Fitness in Sports. Basically, an initial program might work great for a few months, but then, boom, the benefits plateau. To move beyond that, you need progressive overload. This means a gradual, systematic increase in the stress you're placing on your body during training. Because without those extra demands, your body literally has no reason to adapt any further. It's perfectly comfortable where it is.
But how does that adaptation actually happen? Well, it all comes down to a really cool concept originally from German sports science called supercompensation, or supercompensation. Basically, this is the phase where the body's baseline performance capacity actually increases above its original level, right after a training stimulus and a solid period of recovery. This right here, this is the ultimate goal of literally any workout routine.
Think of it kind of like a wave across a timeline. There are 4 distinct phases here. Point 1 is your workout. You're disrupting your body's homeostasis, and your immediate performance actually drops because, well, you're tired. Point 2 is the recovery phase, where your body scrambles to get back to its baseline. Now, point 3 is the magic, overshooting. Your body basically says, wow, okay, that was really hard. I better build back stronger just in case they do that to me again. That is supercompensation. But look closely at point 4. If you don't train again in that sweet spot, your fitness declines right back to where you started, so timing is absolutely everything here.
And that brings us perfectly to Section 2, the minimum effective dose, finding the exact amount of stress needed. If timing and stress are the name of the game, we have to ask a massive question. Exactly how much stress is enough to trigger that supercompensation without completely destroying your body?
Dr. Patrick Ward, who is a brilliant expert in sports science and analytics, uses this amazing financial metaphor. He says, all training comes at a cost, and in order to reap the benefits, you need to make sure you pay that cost, and then replenish the checking account before paying again. Think about that. Every single workout drains your physiological bank account.
So, I want you to really reflect on your own habits for a second. Are you bankrupting your recovery? Seriously, when you force a heavy lift or some grueling sprint on a day when you're already totally exhausted, you aren't building fitness. You're just overdrawing your physiological checking account.
And the data backs this up. Let's look at HRV, or heart rate variability. There's this fascinating study that compared 2 groups of endurance athletes. Group 1 followed a rigid, predetermined schedule. Group 2, though, checked their morning HRV, and they only did high-intensity training if their body's actual data showed they were recovered. The results is wild. The HRV-guided group actually improved their fitness while doing fewer high-intensity sessions. By giving the body only what it needed, exactly when it needed it, they got better results. Work smarter, right?
Which perfectly introduces Section 3, autoregulation in training. This is your fluid, daily programming solution to the huge problem of rigid, old-school schedules. So why do we need autoregulation? Because your daily performance is not a straight line. It fluctuates based on the fitness fatigue model. First, you've got fitness. These are the positive adaptations from their previous workouts. Second, you have fatigue, the negative exhausting effects of that training. And third, readiness. This is the wild card. Readiness accounts for all those non-training daily stressors. Like, did you sleep poorly? Are you super stressed about a project at work? Is your nutrition totally off today? All of these things directly impact your daily capability to lift heavy or run fast.
So, how do we actually measure our readiness so we can auto-regulate? We've got two main toolkits here. Subjective methods involve really tuning into your body. This includes RPE, your rating of perceived exertion, and RIR, repetitions in reserve, which is basically asking yourself, honestly, how many more reps could I have physically done? On the flip side, we have objective methods. This is where you bring in the tech. Things like HRV monitors or VBT, velocity-based training, where sensors measure the exact physical speed of your barbell.
Okay, so what does this look like in the gym? If your daily readiness is high, a subjective adjustment might be to literally increase the weight until it feels like your target effort level. Objectively, you just make sure you're maintaining high bar speeds. But what if your readiness is in the tank? Subjectively, research shows you might want to drop your back-off sets by about 6% to account for that fatigue. Objectively, you might stop your sets the very second your lifting velocity drops by 20%. Either way, the key is that you are actively adapting to what your body can actually handle that specific day.
All right, let's move into our final section, active versus passive recovery. We've talked a lot about stress, so now let's talk about how to actively speed up the replenishment of that physiological checking account we keep talking about.
The great debate. Active versus passive. Active recovery is that light physical activity after an intense effort. Think a slow, easy jog. Science shows this clears lactic acid from your muscles up to 40% faster and keeps your blood circulating to speed up repair. Passive recovery, on the other hand, is just total rest, couch time. And while it might seem like you're doing absolutely nothing, complete rest is actually superior for replenishing your glycogen energy stores and giving your central nervous system a complete, much-needed reset.
And this brings us to a super vital, but honestly often overlooked scientific reality. Big word alert, the heterochronism of supercompensation. I know, it's a mouthful, but it simply means that different systems in your body require entirely different time frames to recover. For example, your muscles might feel totally fine and you have zero soreness, but your central nervous system might still be completely fried from a heavy deadlift session 2 days ago.
So what's the actual game plan? Well, sports science experts recommend a mixed recovery protocol. It's the ultimate compromise, combining the absolute best of both worlds. You start with 5 to 10 minutes of active recovery right after your workout to clear out that lactate. Then, you transition into prolonged passive recovery, total rest for the nervous system. You can even use tools like electrostimulation as a passive way to clear out the muscles without taxing your body any further. And of course, immediately lock in your hydration and get that protein and carbohydrate intake. You're basically giving different systems of your body exactly what they need when they need it.
We have covered a massive amount of ground in this explainer, from the baseline rules of supercompensation to auto-regulating your daily volume. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Are your current workouts dictated by a rigid schedule you wrote out weeks ago, or are they dictated by what your body actually needs today? If you really want to break through those plateaus, you have to start listening to the data, monitor your readiness, and remember, better is always better. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll catch you on the next one.